welcome back to my channel. I'm Kimmy. It has been a while and yeah, I have some updates for you. Our baby is here. This is Augie and we're just absolutely in love with him. It's been a while. I've been meaning to film this video for the past few weeks, but obviously I've been tired and it just hasn't been a priority. So now we're filming it and I'm really excited to announce that he's here. He is 9 weeks now. He is 2 months. He turned 2 months on the 10th of October. He was born on the 10th of August. So it has been so amazing. Obviously quite a journey the past several weeks because if this is your first time watching, I do have a toddler who is 2 years old. He turned 2 in June. And so this is a huge adjustment for him because he is just so used to just being the only child. And now that we brought a new baby in, it's been quite an adjustment for him, but he's doing really well now. I think it took him like the past 2 months to really like get used to the fact that Augie's sticking around. He loves Augie, but he's definitely had a really hard time and it's getting easier. And so it's just been an adjustment, and it's also been a huge adjustment for me to go back to having a newborn. But it's been truly, truly amazing. And I'm excited to kind of share his birth story. It's kind of a wild birth story. There are so many things that happened and almost happened. And
Hi, you are so excited.
so Augie's birth was kind of like a crazy day. It was like just a quick 4 hours, which was very unexpected. I was expecting that it would go very similar to how my first went. And with Gavin, my first child, it kind of was pretty smooth. Like what the doctor, what the nurse had said at the time was that it was kind of like a classic birth, how they really expect birth to go. And basically like that was so, it was kind of like an easy day, of course, like very painful, but I started having contractions middle of the night around like 12:30, waited around a long time to go to the hospital, went to the hospital around like 6, waited around to get fully dilated and for labor to start. Labor started, my water broke, and then a couple hours later, Gavin was born, pushed for like 15 minutes. So we waited around at home for like a good like 5 hours or 6 hours until we were ready to leave to go to the hospital. And this time was like very different. So I kind of went into this thinking it'll kind of be the same thing. So I woke up around like 6:30 in the morning and I felt not really like a typical contraction. I felt like this weird like deep pain. And it was almost like lightning crotch, but like a lasting feeling.
Bless you.
And so I was just like, I feel like this is the day, but I'm not really sure. Like it doesn't feel like how contractions, last time they really felt like painful period cramps. So this was like a lot different. I was Googling what a contraction could feel like, and what I was feeling wasn't coming up. So I was like, maybe this is something else, but I'm just gonna wait around and see. And I woke Bobby up and I was like, I think it's happening, but I'm not really sure. So I'm just gonna like go about the morning as I normally would, and then, you know, figure it out. So anyway, this was around like 6:30, like 7, and I started the day, got Gavin up. I did my journaling, my meditation, just in case it was the day I wanted to get into a good mindset. We had breakfast together and I started feeling the contractions like happening, like those intense period cramps, and I was prepared to be home for a long time. I thought that I wouldn't be giving birth until like later that night because who knows, it could be like all day that I could be feeling these contractions. It could be all weekend that I feel contractions. You just never know with birth, and there's so many different scenarios and ways that things could go. So I was expecting just to go late at night just based on like my experience before. So it wasn't like intense what I was feeling, but I definitely was feeling contractions. They were every like 5 to 10 minutes apart, and I could still like get through my routine. So I was like, okay, it's not time to go yet. It's gonna be a long time. So then like around like 8:30 or so, things started just like getting out of control. So at least I think it was around like 8:30. I'm not really sure like the timing of everything. I think like around like 9 is when everything just started going crazy in this house. So basically they kind of started like getting more intense. So I was like, you know what? I think that we should go to the hospital soon. I know we weren't planning on going until like noon, which was what I was thinking was going to happen. Basically, I was like, I'm going to go shower so we can go to the hospital. Like, we're just going to go. So on my way to the bathroom, I felt like things were starting to really get like more intense. Like I was feeling like more pain than I was before. And I was like, okay, like this is just how it goes. Went into the shower, and as soon as I was in the shower, the contractions were like just right after one another. I could barely stand up. I was pushing against the wall in so much pain, just like yelling. And my husband came in. Gavin was here with us the whole time as well. And I got out of the shower and just collapsed right to my knees. I was like, we have to go to the hospital like right this second. And I had washed my hair, didn't even have time to brush it, didn't even have time to put on skincare, anything. I somehow got from the floor of my bathroom to our bed and lay down, and I was like, you need to call an ambulance because this baby is coming right now. And Bobby was going to get in the shower, and I was yelling at him like, do not get in that shower, this baby is coming right now. And I felt like immediately this crazy sensation to push, like something was telling me just to push, and my water just broke all over the bed. Like it was and I could just feel that he was like coming out. Like this was the fastest progression I could have ever even imagined. Like it was all within minutes of intense contractions happening to like this baby's like coming out. So my husband called 911 because I was like, you need to call 911. Like I need an ambulance. So firefighters came. They were in our home. Gavin was in his bedroom. He witnessed my water breaking, like the whole thing. And so the firefighters came, and they, you know, obviously started doing like whatever they needed to do. I don't even know. I couldn't even think. I was just sweating. I was like trembling. I was like basically prepared to have this baby right here in my bed. Like I really just thought that that was going to happen, and I was kind of panicking because I just have heard how horrible the pain is giving birth. So I was just like really upset that I wasn't going to be able to get the epidural. I had always wanted to do a natural birth, but when it came down to it, I don't think I was actually going to follow through with giving a natural birth. I guess I shouldn't say natural birth, an unmedicated birth, because every birth is a natural birth. But I wanted to give an unmedicated birth, but I knew I wasn't going to actually go through with it. Like the pain, I just know from experience, was just so intense. And I was really worried about pushing. I didn't know how long I would be pushing for. Like you could be pushing up to 2 hours. Like there's just so much unknown. So having the epidural, taking away the pain when they offer it, is just so comforting. And so anyway, I was just really upset that I knew I wasn't going to be able to get an epidural. They kept telling me I wasn't going to be able to, that it might happen here because the ambulance wasn't here yet. So anyway, hi. Finally, my mom came to take care of Gavin. So I was like, we need to get out of here. The ambulance finally came and took me to the hospital. No shoes, no underwear on, nothing, just a t-shirt. So I think by now, because we were waiting for the ambulance for like a very long time, and they kept telling me not to push, and like when you're in that, and you just feel like you just need to push, like I think that he really was like right there. And they kept looking to see if he was crowning, but they said that there was no crowning. But I think the reason is, we'll get to that in a few minutes of why they couldn't see him crowning. Finally, the ambulance came. They took me to the hospital, which was probably like a 5-minute drive. And literally as soon as we got to the hospital, got in labor and delivery into the room, And as soon as I transferred over to the delivery bed, he was already coming out. I don't remember pushing. I remember feeling absolutely nothing at that point. There was no pain. And I just saw like this little body coming out, and I looked up at the nurse and I said, "Is that the baby?" And she was like, "Yes." And they were yelling at me to get my legs above my head because he was breech. And that's why when I looked down and I saw his body, I was like, where's his head? I was so confused what was going on. So, and again, I don't even remember pushing again, but I guess I did. He was out within 60 seconds. Like he was ready to come out. I think like I could have been pushing on my bed before and he would have came out like in a couple minutes. Like there was a 5-minute, I think it was like a 5-minute ride to the hospital. I think we had like literally like 5 to 10 minutes before this baby was going to come out. Like it was that quick. And he was out in 60 seconds from when I started pushing. But he was breech, and that's why they couldn't see any crowning, because I think that it was just like his butt. He was butt first and his feet were like up here. So I think that's why they couldn't tell that it was his head and that they couldn't see any crowning, because it was his butt. And it's just so crazy that that happened. I kept saying on my vlogs that he was head down, but I guess he wasn't. And it's nobody's fault. They can't really tell where they are without an ultrasound. Like it's kind of just like a guessing game of feeling around. But anyway, it was a crazy day. That's as much as I'm gonna get into all of the details, I guess. But yeah, I wasn't really expecting to do an unmedicated birth. It happened naturally, which I'm very thankful for. Like I really wanted one, and I'm also thankful that I was able to do a vaginal delivery, because I know in those situations they do suggest doing a C-section because of so many complications that can happen. So I'm very lucky, and I'm very lucky that he's okay as well. Looking back on that birth experience and everything that happened on that day, I'm just in awe of the woman's body, even more than I ever was, because there are so many things that can go wrong. There are so many things that can happen, and birth happens. I've heard so many people's birth stories, and they go all different ways. If you're preparing for birth, just know it can go any way. I've heard of people showing up at the hospital for their first birth and them asking, "Why are you here? Like you're here way too early." And then the next time around they get there and they're like, "You're here like way too late. You should have been here hours ago." Like I feel like it's a little unclear of when you're supposed to go to the hospital, when you're not. If my best advice is just to go like we had last time. I wasn't sure if it was too early. I wasn't sure if I was going at the right time. It is best to just go whenever you think that you are ready to go. Don't wait until last minute if you're not planning on giving a home birth, because yeah, that almost happened with us. Honestly, I wouldn't have even been able to make it into the car after my water broke. The most intense part of the whole entire experience, I think, was the water breaking. That was the most pain that I had felt throughout the whole thing. And like I said, I didn't feel anything when he was coming out. I think because I had already been in so much pain, and I was just like, I don't know. But yeah, that was our experience. And I know I'm gonna look back and rewatch this one day and be like, holy crap. We don't have any photos of like the moment happening, because we have so many photos from Gavin of like the before, the during, and the after, and we barely have any photos. I think Bobby forgot my phone. I left the hospital with no shoes, and I had no clothes to leave the hospital in, because I was planning on wearing the same clothes that I was gonna wear to the hospital. I was gonna wear those home, so I didn't have clothes, I didn't have shoes. It was just a wild day, but very lucky that everything is okay, and excited that I'm able to share this with you. And I'm excited to share my postpartum journey with you going forward. I'm excited to go through this with you and share my experience. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.